Hi, everyone. Hi, Joy. How's it going? Looking
Oh,
for
that's delightful, Jordan. Thank you.
good. Good to hear.
Oh,
I'm just getting my technical setup ready to go. And then I'm happy to dive into our updated monthly features.
perfect. Thank you so much, Jordan. We're happy to have you on.
Awesome.
I have our live ready and you're getting technicals, so we'll be ready to go and do our live demo. It's perfect.
That's good. You're
Yeah.
anything like me, I'm sure you have a million tabs open too, and this is the time to organize them all. All right,
Yes.
grabbing my screen share.
Perfect. I'm seeing what you're seeing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And let's dive in. I'm going to pull up my screen in case there are any comments from participants as well. And we'll start checking out what's new with NeuralSeek here. And I'll full screen for us so we can see it a little bit better. Um, all right, let's dive in. So I'm on our NeuralSeek home screen first, because I wanted to point out some overall refreshed UI updates that have come this previous month and more to come as well. And I wanted to start on the home page here for us because as we scroll down, we can view under our next steps some of the newer features that have come to the NeuralSeek platform. We'll talk a little bit about a few of these. A few of these we hit last month as well, and we'll talk about some more next month as they start to come out. But up here, there are two different places I definitely recommend when it comes to checking out NeuralSeek features. Actually, three now that I mention it. The monthly webinars, great place. The NeuralSeek platform directly. Here it'll list some updated governance charting. We'll walk through neural edit enhancements. We'll speak a lot about some Maestro enhancements that we've seen this past month. And a lot of these newer features here are listed, as well as our typical place, which is documentation.neuralseek.com, our technical documentation resource site. And under our change log, I'll flash that at the end so we can get a view of where that is and what that looks for. It is also on previous webinar recordings as well, which you can access either from our YouTube channel or here directly within the NeuralSeek platform. This is where I'll primarily spend the majority of today's call. But if you wanted to view the previous webinars, they are listed down here below. So let's dive in. Right now I'm on light mode. We do have the ability to move to dark mode within our instance as well. I know that can be preferred by a lot of users. I'll stick with light mode for today. Besides the home screen refresh, there have been a couple new pages of refresh as well when it comes to, excuse me, that light mode, dark mode capabilities within our configure, within Maestro, Seek, knowledge base. Um, I'll kind of expose a few of these different themes here, just so you can get a visual look at some of the refresh. And now that I'm on the Maestro screen, this is primarily where I'll talk about some of our newer updates and newer features. A lot of these features are developer focused, and I'm happy to dive into them. Sticking with our UI refresh and UI themes, Maestro might look a little bit different to you than if you've checked it out within the past month or so. But all the same features and capabilities are here. I'll just kind of point out where some have been organized and pivoted to. So Agent Editor, NTL, Marketplace, User Agents, Visualizer, Registry, and Scheduler are now all available on that top bar for us that are in line with our editor screen. Previously, our marketplace and user agents were able to be accessed down here where my cursor is, where our save button, delete button is. But for more ease of use, we've migrated the marketplace and user agents up to the top bar. So users can more easily navigate between our editor, between agents in our marketplace, agents that you've custom built and saved, how they look in our visualizer, if they've been added to registries, or if they're on a set scheduler. So if you're looking for where did your agents go, check out the top bar and they're there. Recently, our marketplace has also been updated, so I'll pivot over to our marketplace. I did show this last month as well, but just for a little bit of a recap, you are able to start filtering by agent type, as well as agent categories, whether that's a guardrail-based agent, a meetings and calls-based agent, starter templates that you can work off of, agents that are ready to use out of the box, or agents that have been joined via our community effort, right? So a lot of these different use cases that you might see here, coding interview preps, cold emailing agents, feedback looping agents have been added to our marketplace via the community. Really great feature. Same with your user agents. So I can select my certain user agents here, and similar to how we get that UI visual pop-up from our agent marketplace that gives us a good description of our agent, its overall execution plan, and some of the major architecture components that we see when I expand a marketplace agent. So for this add copy creator, I can get a highlight of what it is, how it works. Right here, our major execution node is calling an LLM node, and we can see that plan here. You get those same capabilities within inside your own user agent. So this is a custom built agent that I have to scrape our NeuralSeek website and load those as an internal knowledge base. I haven't personally added a description to my saved agent. This is something that would be filled in this section if I was to go and resave and do that. But I do still get that visual overview of how it's working. I know that I'm extracting links, scraping a web page, adding my documents to my KV loader, and what those exact nodes are these major components listed down here. And then again, you can load in this agent type and view it within your editor, your NTL, and then when it comes into your visualizer too. I'll dive into the visualizer updates in just a few moments. But overall, those are some of our newer UI updates. Functions, this sidebar, personally, it may be new, the expandable and retractable sidebar here, but you just also might see a few visual updates when it comes to our nodes, whether it's through the coloring, the icon and graphic within our nodes, or the search function capabilities. You can still expand down your global LLM usage as well. And I'm going to delete this node out because I want to start talking about a few new nodes that have been added to the Maestro platform. We'll start with email. So you may see and notice some new email management nodes within NeuralSeek Maestro functions. So our typical send to email nodes, and we've had our Gmail integration nodes as well as some Microsoft integration email nodes. But I wanted to point out some newer updates when it comes to managing Gmail, Microsoft, IMAP, and POP3 emails and inboxes. So let me list our inbox. These nodes include listing inbox, getting our emails, moving emails, being able to mark as read, listing folders when it comes to Gmail, getting a Gmail email, moving that, and similarly with Microsoft, you get those email management nodes as opposed to just sending an Outlook email. We have the ability to reply with reading and managing emails, moving, deleting, getting. And these are all dictated by, at the top of the node, it will read email, read, and manage. So if I expand this top one, I need to distinguish which email service system that I'm speaking to, IMAP, POP3, Gmail, Outlook. And a few of these come with their own additional I'm sorry, my mind totally went blank. Additional parameter points. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Parameters. Additional parameter points. So if I'm using an IMAP mail system, then I'll need to add the server host name, the user username for the mailbox and password. Gmail, if I have that integrated, I just might need that OAuth access token as a way to connect to Microsoft Gmail. And then, of course, I can expand some additional settings as well. But I'm able to, what I can do with these is this is where the management comes in. If I need to list, send, get, reply, delete, move, mark as read, or be able to list some folders. These are all new updates that are coming to or have come out to our email management system directly within NeuralSeek's Maestro. So very cool, very sophisticated new email functionality. So I'm going to delete that and clear my screen. Um, let's talk about another new node that has come to NeuralSeek's Maestro, and that is RSS to Markdown. So if I search for Markdown under Convert Files functions, we do have a few different Markdown capabilities already, like HTML to Markdown, Markdown to HTML, cleaning Markdown in our code toolbox. But under Convert Files, we now have a new node for RSS to Markdown conversion. I have an example feed for us here. So I'll feed into the parameters an RSS feed URL. I can add in multiple. If I separate them by commas, I can expand the number of items per feed and generate a title for the markdown as well. I'll click Run Agent, and then I can start to view my generated response down below of my conversion from RSS feed to markdown directly. So I've just expanded the step inspector so we can see what that looks like. Our variable inspector, making sure that we've set our URL right. And then in our agent output, this is what I'm seeing is my inline. So just a new node when it comes to converting files from RSS to Markdown. There's also some new guardrail nodes that we have. Score action risk is a new guardrail under our guardrail nodes section. We have protect, profanity filter, PII within redacting images or just removing it from text, and some HTTP guardrails as well. Score action risk and score sentiment are also new guardrail nodes coming to Maestro. Score action risk, we do have a good example agent in our marketplace that I'll highlight for this one as well. But we would work on adding a sentence or prompt that the user wants to run, any sort of user permissions, destination of the actions, and then we're able to evaluate the risk of a user requested action based on their permission levels to make suggestions on how to proceed next for our finding. So let me pull up a marketplace for this one. I can navigate and buy guardrails here, and risk tester is the marketplace agent that we utilize this score risk if you're looking for an example of this particular guardrail node in action. So I'll go ahead and load in that agent here. As you can see, we have score risk. The sentence that we're going to prompt the user for is going to be our action to take. User and email is coming directly from my own user, which is being pulled from the NeuralSeek details, right? So it'll be my user, my email. Is this an external action? Yes, this will. We can also set what agents or tools will need to be called and how many records this will affect, all within our score risk. In summary, what this agent is doing for us is evaluating our user prompt and the risk of that user prompt based off of my certain permission levels of my user on my account, and then making decisions on this pipeline. So do we need to completely block this decision? And how do we tell the user that? Do we need to prompt the user for that this decision requires human review and get an LLM to generate a good response for us to notify the user, which would be me? Or do we need to say that this action is able to be successfully taken with no risk indicated? So maybe I need to delete a user is my action that I'm looking to take. Oops. Let me change my LLM model here. I'm going to use a managed model. And my action that I'm wanting to take is to delete a user. And we're going to run through that score risk pipeline and have our conditionals determine what message we're going to display to the user. So hold on there. Before this user gets the boot, before I take that action to delete a user, we'll need to bring in the management squad for manager approval to proceed with this deletion, right? So we know that this wasn't an action that we've determined to fully block based off of my user and my user permissions. This action risk was deemed needing that human review, where we've then been able to send that prompt to the large language model and generate this very nice but very appropriate warning message based off of our score risk for us. So those action risk guardrails, new to our guardrail section of NeuralSeek, and we have this really great risk tester agent for you to take a look at and or incorporate, right? So we're going to delete that. Now I want to speak a little bit about Maestro's debugging platforms and NeuralSeek's live agent visualizer. So up here at the top, we've had the visualizer for a while. I do want to talk about some new features and new updates when it's come to the visualizer. So right now, the visualizer is showcasing all of my user agents, right? And how they function and flow together, whether they have conditional calls before they reach out to a new agent. So we'll look at these here. I have a few different document listers, document callers, and document ingestion pipelines. As we can tell by the dotted line, this is a conditional. So if we need to hit our authentication agent or not based off of a specific call in that parent agent. We also see direct lines to calls of that flow. So our testing and our document ingest testing for certain snippets, we always need to call the child agent of the key authentication. A newer update for this agent visualizer is now you can visualize agents in the pipeline that are running directly within your agent editor. I'm going to use a comparison agent. So that way we don't have to visualize all of my agents, but I have this comparison agent. I'm going to load this one into my editor. Let's discard what we currently have, and we have loaded up. And then when I evaluate, let's go back to my agent editor. We can do this either directly from the visualizer or directly from my editor. So I'm going to pull up my user agent. Let's see. I have this Claude LLM. Yep. And then let's pull up my visualizer. So this user agent that I have is comparison is my parent agent, and it routes to 4 different sub agents where we're calling specific models. So a GPT, a Nova, Claude model, and we're comparing the output of a basic file against these different models to generate a comparison sheet for us. Unlike what we saw before, where the visualizer showcased every one of my agents that are available, let's just run this agent. I might need to update my model here. One moment. When it comes to live demos, there's always a bit of risk when it comes to live demos. And just for your own awareness and instance, this is on my staging instance. So an instance where we do quite a bit of development and testing as well. So I'm going to run this agent. And what I wanted to showcase here within the visualizer is that I'm calling the parent agent, and I can view directly in the visualizer that agent pipeline of an agent that's running directly in my editor. So if I had reevaluated that, we could see that my agent comparison is running, and it is being routed to 1 subagent, 2 subagent, 3, and now we're calling on the 3rd subagent. They all light up green. We've finished all of our subagents that we've called from our parent agent of our comparison. I can still inspect the debugger here. I can navigate back to my agent editor and view my output as needed. But when you're running convoluted or very nested agent plans directly in Maestro, we can start to view how they are all working in tandem directly in our visualizer upon execution time. So just a newer update when it comes to that live agent pipeline visualizer. Another new agent that I wanted to discuss with us here is some newer updates when I pull open our agent editor. And this is around Maestro debugging pins with import and export. So this might not have been a feature that I showcased last month, but I definitely want to talk about this month. Within our editor, when I highlight over a specific node, I get two different buttons. The ability to pin the run at this node, or the ability to toggle a breakpoint at this node. So I'm going to come over to, say, my Nova output, and I'm going to click to toggle a breakpoint directly at this node, meaning I'm going to pause the ingestion at our Nova output node when I set this variable before I continue to my 4 other sandboxed nodes. And then let's open the debugger and see what this looks like. So I can come over to my step inspector and I can see that I've paused my agent at step 9. I'm able to then resume my agent, step over step 9 and continue on with the pipeline, continue to run the entire agent flow until the end. I'm able to analyze. So this will generate a new tab beside variable inspector that will generate an AI analysis of the current step breakdown of my Maestro inspector. So this is my execution analysis, what we've accomplished so far, what we'll continue to do in our remaining steps, any sort of potential anomalies or issues that we're seeing, or that you may end up seeing as you run this node. I'm also able to pin. Let's close the debugger. When I pin, this allows me to export a pin document. I can export that here. So I'm able to export and save this agent directly where I've pinned it for later restore for future use. If I was to clear my dashboard altogether and then upload from my file server, I'm able to import a pinned DAT file as well. We know that we can always download our user agents or marketplace agents. They will download to our local drive as DAT files or .dat files, right? But with the ability to toggle and pin and pause a flow at a certain point, we're now able to export and import these pinned DAT files to resume our agent directly where we paused for analysis, right? So if I was to pause here at agent output, inspect my debugger, realize I have some potential issues in my upcoming steps or potential anomalies, like here I call Claude. Maybe I don't have my Claude LLM completely connected, right? That's something that I would need to do and was identified as a potential risk. So I want to pause the development in my flow and be able to export and import into either the same instance or maybe back into my development instance for testing and take it out of prod. So those are some newer capabilities when it comes to the agent editor, very developer focused and developer forward when it comes to these, but useful nonetheless. Let me kind of revert our steps again, just to show us that red button allows us, and when you hover over, you get a bit of a description of what's going on. Let's load back up this agent. Red is our toggle breakpoint, and then the blue pin icon allows us to pin directly at that node. Once we've pinned, we're able to export and then again import those .pin, .dat files to restore the agent at the paused run. All right, One other update when it comes to Maestro before I leave this tab and navigate over to some updates directly in our configure tab. This has been a update. I don't have a direct agent for us to run to showcase, but for those that are working with the context user variable, which is a variable that is available to users directly within the Seek and Maestro platform, there's been an update where that variable, that context user variable, is now able to be passed into Maestro sandboxed agents, meaning that they can start to use the same key for the parent and the child nodes. So if you have any cached data that your child node is utilizing that you need your parent node to utilize, you're able to do that. So simply put, this is an update for sub-agents that are called via the Maestro sandbox. It's called Sandbox. Yeah, this is a update for subagents called via the Maestro Sandbox here, which I have this node that are missing the parent session ID in order to pull memory from. So just underlying under the scenes update for subagent session memory support has come out to Maestro this past month as well. Navigating out of Maestro, I want to hit on with our remaining time a few updates on our configuration side. So I'm going to open up my default config to showcase these. Expanding knowledge base connection. If I scroll all the way down, ChromaDB is now a supported knowledge base integration. Similar to other knowledge base integrations, you'll need to come with your database tenant, API key collection, and then you have the available metadata fields to choose from, such as your link field, document name field, and any sort of filter fields. So ChromaDB, you can access that directly from knowledge base connection. If I scroll down, knowledge base type, it's there at the bottom. Coming down to platform preferences, I'll scroll all the way to the bottom of platform preferences, and there is the ability to enable a post-seek Maestro agent. This will trigger an agent that has been built out on the Maestro platform asynchronously after each seek response in order to kind of do what you need to, right? Save conversations, log custom analytics, or other sorts of post-processing workflows. Right now I have mine currently disabled, but the agent will receive the full context of your seek. We do have an agent or a variable within seek called post seek agent in, which contains your question, your answer, answer ID, session ID, user score, URL, document, all of that good juicy material that you get from a seek response. We can pull that directly into Maestro, build a post seek agent in Maestro, and start utilizing it for custom logging dashboards on our governance plane or post-processing workflows. So that's something that's able to be configured, built within Maestro, configured under platform preferences on the configuration tab. I'm going to scroll back up. I just passed it to LLM details. As always, with staying up to date with NeuralSeek's multi-LLM functionalities and capabilities, there is additional updates to open source LLM support. Right now we have supporting Minimax, Kimi, DeepSeek V4 Pro, I know is a big one as well, Gemma models. Right now I'm under the Together AI. So just always be sure if you're not quite sure if the model that you're looking for is supported. NeuralSeek does a very great job of staying up to date with the latest models and the latest open source models to allow you to have easy integrations into the models of your choice. So be able to check out both the platform and then the available model selections under the LLM tab directly in your configuration details. This next update that I want to discuss with us, I know we're quite at time, so I'll keep this one quick, will be some SharePoint access control filtering for KB searching. So under admin tools, under our APIs and integrations, if you haven't navigated to this page recently, you'll start to see things around our Slack extension, our custom Teams integration, Watson Core AI Lex v2 logs, and then our SharePoint integration as well. We have spoken about NeuralSeek's internal knowledge base manager, and our SharePoint online background connector as well has come recently to NeuralSeek. So we're able to enter in our connection and authentication to our direct SharePoint site. Our target sync will be recommended. Our NeuralSeek managed KB or into an Elasticsearch instance. There are 2 sync templates or 2 AI agents built in Maestro directly in our marketplace that you're able to view for both of these routes when it comes to our synced targets. Under schedules and controls, you can click this toggle button to record each file's SharePoint permissions on the index documents. This will take a little bit longer on the sync, but we're able to gather those SharePoint permissions per document. And then directly on the appropriate and corresponding Maestro flow. So this one in our marketplace is the SharePoint KB sync to our NeuralSeek managed KB. You're able to include a metadata field in the KB that will call the allow access from SharePoint. And then when you go to perform a KB search, you're able to start to filter based off of that access control that we've defined here directly from our SharePoint site. So just some new updates when it comes to both our SharePoint online background connector and the corresponding sync template. Let me pull up that Maestro agent directly. And I'm going to start typing in SharePoint. SharePoint to NeuralSeek KB was our example agent. When I come down here to our NeuralSeek KB add document, I can start to see that I can loop over that object, or I can call and filter that object for allow access, which is being pulled as our access control directly from our SharePoint. And then say I go to do a KB search directly in our knowledge base. I can add a metadata filter field for that and filter by our access control. I'm just double checking my notes off to the side here. I believe that is all our newer updates that have come directly on our home screen. It does mention some updates around new governance dashboardings when it comes to red team testing or overall visual updates to our governance dashboardings, the ability to build out custom governance dashboards if you have custom governance implemented as well. I know up and coming within NeuralSeek 2 that we'll speak about a little bit more in depth and demo next time will be some new context compression nodes that are coming to Maestro, some new guardrail nodes coming out to Maestro, and a few new configurable capabilities there. So lots to look forward to when it comes to both node and UI updates within Maestro. If you have any questions, any of these new features, check out the home screen directly. Or, let's see. Trying to X out. Yep. Let's X out. Documentation.neuralseek.com, another great resource. And we can check out our changelog for any of these new features and updates as well. If you're looking for support on something that we just discussed, NeuralSeek.com is, of course, the place where I would go and recommend users to go. Scrolling all the way to the bottom, or you can find it via one of the links at our top, gives us, oops, sorry, it's actually links at the bottom gives us access into our documentation. Resources at the top give us access into our community, where you can start to go in there and ask some questions about some of the feature supports, general discussion, or product Q&A discussion, as always. Thank you for running a little bit over with me. Lots and lots of new updates coming to NeuralSeek, lots and lots more to come. So I look forward to discussing more with you